Time to check in with Dr. Joe Schwarcz, host of the Dr. Joe Show, which airs here on CJAD 800 on Sundays at 3 p.m. He is also director of the McGill Office for Science and Society. And Joe, today you want to talk about artificial and natural flavors, something I think exclusively these days we've been hearing from, of all people, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in the Trump administration, things that he'll allow, won't allow. So what's this about?
Right. Well, we've talked, of course, about artificial colors, and that's been in the news. That's, one of the targets that RFK has. But I think artificial flavors are going to be targeted as well. And there's some interesting stories about that. Now, I tell you what, brought this to my mind now is because I had a call from someone who wanted to know where they could find natural vanilla, because the vanilla that they find in the supermarket is labeled as imitation or artificial vanilla. So that's what prompted, this discussion. It actually turns out that the artificial vanilla is actually really vanilla, except that it has to be labeled artificial. So let me explain this. Vanilla actually comes from the vanilla bean, which grows on a flower, grows on an orchid. And normally what you do is you take that bean and you chop it up and you extract it with alcohol, and you get what is called natural vanilla flavor. But that natural vanilla flavor is actually composed of many different compounds. However, one is responsible for most of the flavor, and that is vanillin. That's one specific compound. Now, this is not a very complicated molecule to synthesize, and it can be made in the lab. And in order to make it in the lab, of course, you need a starting material. That starting material is a compound called phenol, which can be extracted from petroleum. But once you have manipulated it in the laboratory, its molecular structure is exactly the same as the one that you find in the natural bean. So whether or not a molecule compound is safe or effective is not determined by its ancestry. It doesn't matter where or how it was made. What matters is what it is. And if the two molecular structures are the same, these are identical. So actually, this imitation vanilla, which has to be so called by law because it is made in the laboratory, is the same as what you would find in the natural bean. But people will then say, yes, but that natural extract doesn't taste exactly the same as the synthetic, which is true, because, as I mentioned, the natural extract contains many different compounds that are present in the vanilla bean, but the synthetic version uses only the one that is the major component. But there's no safety issue associated with that because it's identical. Now, furthermore, to make this story even more interesting, you can now take that vanillin, that molecule that is synthesized in the lab, and change it somewhat and add an extra carbon atom to it to convert it from what we call methyl vanillin to ethyl vanillin. Now, that ethyl vanillin doesn't occur in the vanilla bean, but it actually has a greater vanilla flavor than the one that naturally is found. So in the lab, you can actually make artificial vanilla that tastes more like vanilla than natural vanilla.
Who knew? By the way, what about the cost component here? Does that enter into play?
Yes. Of course, it's much cheaper to produce it synthetically than to extract it from the vanilla bean. So yes, there certainly is a cost component. And when you see on many, many food labels artificial flavor added, that usually means vanilla, which is synthesized in the laboratory. Also, something else that is interesting to note is that, for example, you can have, let's say, a strawberry flavor, and the bottle that you buy in the supermarket is labeled as natural strawberry flavor. However, that doesn't mean that all of the components in there come from strawberries. It just means that they are all natural. So, for example, you can have strawberry flavoring, which has some oil of cloves added to it, because oil of clove actually brings out the strawberry flavor. So that natural strawberry flavor that you buy in the store may not come completely from strawberries.
Oh my.
It can have other ingredients added as long as they are natural, because the whole thing is termed natural.
Yeah, and we wonder why people have trouble shopping and understanding what they're buying.
Right.
Okay.
So there are some very interesting nuances here. But the fact is that whether something is natural or synthetic does not determine whether it's safe or effective.
Joe, while I have a minute, I want to get to something I sent you. Came across this video the other day purporting to show that a 36-hour fast is about the best thing you can do, especially if you want to lose weight. It does all these things that help you. You've seen the video. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, I saw the video, and of course, you never know where this video comes from. It's sort of slickly made. And it has smidgens of fact in it. I mean, it certainly is true that when you start fasting for that long, you will burn up your carbohydrate stores in your body. You'll burn up your glycogen that's stored in the liver, and then you start metabolizing fat. So yes, you are going to lose fat. Now, whether or not you're going to feel better, that's subjective. Somehow, I doubt that anyone feels good after a 36-hour fast. And in any case, this is just not a practical thing. But there is actually significant research about much shorter fasts, and I think we've mentioned those before. Like if you go for a fast wherein you eat only during an 8-hour period of a day, and you can select what that 8-hour period is, let's say 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or, whatever, and you eat only during that period and nothing else outside of that except for water or sugarless coffee or tea. And once again, that is more conducive to going into a state of ketosis where you will burn more fat. And that there actually is some significant evidence for. But once again, it is not something that is simple to stick to. It's
well, right. You do it for one day, and the next day you're back to where you were before. Where's the benefit?
Exactly. So we're always looking for solutions. People are looking for solutions that are quick and but they just don't work over the long term.
Right.
Yes, you may be able to do this 8-hour fast, if you're really dedicated for a short time, but it's not something that you can really stick to.
Fair enough. Dr. Joe Schwarcz. Joe, thank you. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Aaron.